Welcome to another episode of Photoshop Lightroom TV. I'm your host, Marek Mularczyk from SAITraining.co.uk, and this is another week and another episode of Photoshop Lightroom TV, your weekly video podcast about anything Photoshop, Lightroom, photography and Adobe related as well. Now this is a new episode that's been recorded on a different camera than usual. So if the quality of the sound is a bit lower than usual, I apologize to start with. Okay. Now, remember about my blog, PhotoshopLightroomTV, and remember I'm posting tips, tricks, tutorials, as well as any news from Adobe. So, for example, I've been blogging about the Adobe Creative Week. Remember about Adobe Creative Week? The event that you can attend online the week after next, from about 9th or 10th to 13th or 14th of July. Register. Each day will be about something different. So there's a day about photography, there's a day for web designers, there's a day for graphic designers, and so on. For details, check PhotoshopLightroomTV.co.uk to get all the information about Adobe Creative Week, to find the link where you can register, and we can find out who's going to be there. The Adobe Creative Week will stream from Adobe's studio in London, and among many guests we should see Julian Cost and Paul Trani, as far as I remember, and maybe Jason Levine. He may be talking about the video. Okay, so for all details go to PhotoshopLightroomTV.co.uk. Now let's move on. Let's go into the first tutorial. The first tutorial I'm going to show you will be in Photoshop, and I'm going to show you some techniques we use in retouching images by using the Liquify filter. When we move things a bit bigger, a bit smaller, a bit thinner, a bit thicker, just a couple of interesting techniques. So let's go into Photoshop. Let me show you the Liquify. This may not be the best example of using the Liquify filter, but I thought I would do something different. So instead of using models, I would use shape. I'm going to start by duplicating the background layer, and I'll go to Filter, Liquify. Let me resize the window. Okay, just make it a bit wider as well. Okay, and in here, here's a number of tools on the left hand side. What I'm going to use to start with is the Bloat Tool. I'm just going to zoom in on the image 100%. Okay. With the Bloat Tool, I'm going to set the brush size, so I'll keep it about 40-50 pixels, that's fine. Brush density quite low. Now let me show you how and brush rate quite low. Let me show you how the brush rate works. I'm going to keep it very high, on maximum 100%. Okay, and I'm just going to do a single click. Okay, then I'll lower the brush rate to about 20%, and I'll click again, and you can see the difference. So it's much more subtle. Okay, and I'll just undo a couple of steps. So I'll keep the brush rate quite low, the brush density quite low, brush size maybe a bit bigger. I can use the bracket keys to make the brush bigger. And now I'll be doing just single clicks just to make the legs a bit thicker. Okay, the same here, just a bit. And this one here as well. And that one. If you check show backdrop, you can see the before and after. Okay, just a bit. Okay, right. Now we're going to make some change to the head, so I'll make the head just a bit bigger as well, just a tiny bit. Okay, that's before, that's after. Okay. Right, so just tiny differences, just tiny improvements, so you wouldn't normally spot the difference if you didn't see the original image. Okay, maybe make the ears a bit bigger. Okay, another thing we can do is we can use the push left tool
to push the pixels. Here's how it works. If you click and drag, you push the pixels to the left. If you drag up, if you drag down, you push it to the right. Just going to undo the last two steps. So if I click and drag upwards, I can push some pixels to the left. Okay, just a bit here. I'm going to just uncheck show backdrop. And if I drag down, I can push the pixels to the right. Same here. Just pushing down a bit. I'm going to exaggerate just a bit so you can see how it's working. Okay. And that's our before the backdrop and after. Let me just change the opacity to 100% so you can see before and after. Okay. Just a few examples of using the Liquify filter and using the Bloat Tool and the push left tool. Okay, I'm just going to press OK, and because I duplicate the layer, you can see before and after. That's before, that's after.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial in Photoshop. I do have one more tutorial in Photoshop for you, also something creative. But before we jump into Photoshop, remember about the, well, if you want me anything, if you want me to share anything with you, if you want me to create a tutorial on something, if you're struggling with anything, let me know and I'll be happy to create a tutorial and present it in PhotoshopLightroomTV or upload it to online. Remember, you can find all the videos I'm creating on my YouTube channel. So if you search for Marek Mularczyk or MARER13, Marek 13, that's how you find me online. You find I've got loads of videos on my YouTube channel. So if you like the videos, subscribe. Okay, let's talk about Photoshop again. This time I'm going to show you how to adjust the image, how to correct the image locally on different parts of the image. Okay. You're going to see what I mean when we start talking about it. So let's open one of the images in Photoshop and I'm going to show you how to locally make parts of the image brighter or darker quickly and easily. Okay, so let's have a look at it.
We're going to work on this image here, and one of the things I want to do is I want to make some areas of the image brighter, like this napkin here, maybe the notebook, and some areas darker, like maybe the keyboard of the laptop, or maybe I will adjust the screen. So I'm going to start by duplicating the background layer, okay, and I'll create a selection of the screen. In this case I'm going to use the pen tool, and with the pen tool I'll just quickly select the screen. Okay. I'm going to load as a selection, so I'll go to the paths panel, load this path as a selection. I'll put it onto a new layer, Control J or Command J. This is the screen, and I'll adjust it with curves. With curves adjustment, first I'm going to go to the blue channel and I'll lower the blues, bring in some yellows, or let me just clip it as well. So on this screen is being adjusted. You can see the change on the actual screen. Maybe in the highlights as well, just a bit. That's before, that's after. Okay. Okay, that's the screen. Now I'll go back to background copy layer, and now I'm going to use the Lasso Tool. Now create a selection of the napkin. Again, I'm just roughly selecting it, just not to bother you with the detail. Normally you would spend time creating a really nice selection, and again Control J, Command J to put it into a new layer. This will be napkin, and again this time I'm going to use levels for a change. Let me just drag it out so you can see what's happening here. I'm going to clip it straight away, and I'll just darken the napkin. I don't want to go too far, obviously. I'll play with the contrast, so it's quite low. Okay, that's before, that's after. Okay, so I'll minimize the properties panel for now. So this is the before for the napkin, this is before for the screen. Okay, and we'll do the keyboard. So back to background copy layer, cross section of the keyboard. I'll use the pen tool again. I'll now quickly select just the keyboard. In this example, go to paths panel, load the path as a selection. You can also use Control Enter, Command Return. Back to layers panels, put it on your layer. So Control J, Command J. This is keyboard. And back to the adjustments panel, I'll use levels. And I'll make the keyboard a bit darker. Oh, let me clip it. Okay, I'll make it very dark. Okay, make the keys really bright. So that's before and that's after. Now this is a really strong effect, but I just wanted to show you how it changes so it'll be easier for you to see. I'll minimize the properties panel and the overall before and overall after. Quickly and easily with a couple of selections, different selection tools, different adjustment layers, and some areas of the image are now darker or brighter or more contrasty or less contrasty.
Welcome back. That's it for this week, I'm afraid. I hope you enjoyed it. Before I leave you, I've got one more thing for you, the tip of the week. This tip of the week will be a photography tip and a link at the same time. If you go to my blog, PhotoshopLightroomBridge.co.uk, in one of the posts from, I think it was last week, I've got an interesting post on digital cameras. So if you're thinking about buying a camera, have a look on it, have a read. I'm showing some alternatives to SLR cameras, to digital SLR cameras. Now SLR cameras are brilliant, they're amazing, but they're also big, bulky and heavy. And many other cameras like compact system cameras, CSCs, create stunning effects nowadays. They will be more than suitable for the majority of users. So have a look on that, PhotoshopLightroomBridge.co.uk, have a read, let me know what you think, post a comment. Okay, I'm Marek Mularczyk from SAItraining.co.uk, one of the UK's leading specialists in Adobe Certified training, specializing in Photoshop training, Lightroom, Dreamweaver and Flash. And I hope to see you next week on next week's episode of Photoshop Lightroom TV. Hope you enjoyed it, thank you for watching, bye bye.